Oh, if you're a parent, you know that sound, right? The middle of the night crying, the little hand tugging at the ear. Ugh, it's that misery of a childhood ear infection, and it is so common. And let's be real, it's just incredibly frustrating. So let's talk about what we can actually do about it based on some really practical, hands on advice.
All right, let's just start with a number that might completely change how you think about this whole problem. Are you ready for this? Somewhere between 70 and 80% of childhood ear infections are viral, not bacterial, viral. And why does that matter so much? Well, because it's a huge piece of the puzzle that honestly changes everything about how we should be treating them. And that brings us to a really important question. If the vast majority of these infections are caused by a virus, why is our go-to response, our first instinct, so often a prescription for antibiotics? It's kind of a reflex, isn't it? But it's a reflex we really need to take a closer look at, because it might be doing a lot more harm than good. Okay, so here's the absolute key to this whole thing. Antibiotics, they are designed to do one job and one job only: fight bacteria. They have like zero effect on viruses, none. So when we give them for a viral ear infection, it's not just that we're using the wrong tool for the job, it's worse than that. We're actually wiping out all the good bacteria in your kid's gut. You know, the good guys they desperately need for a strong immune system down the road.
So, if antibiotics are often not the answer, what is? Well, let's talk about a really powerful first step you can use right at home. It's called the 3-day garlic oil method, and it is a gentle, but believe me, a surprisingly effective way to tackle the infection at its source.
The whole process is actually really simple. You just put 3 to 5 drops of garlic mullein oil into the ear that's bothering them. Let it sit there and absorb for a few minutes. You're going to want to repeat this 3 times a day. And here is the most important part of all. You have to keep doing it for a full 3 days. And this is exactly why that 3-day rule is so critical. The person who shared this advice told a story about how they stopped on day 2 because their kids seemed all better. And guess what? The infection came roaring right back. The lesson here is pretty clear. You've got to finish the full 3 days to make sure that infection is truly gone for good. Now, here's a fantastic little pro tip to make this whole thing way easier. Just have your child lay down on their side, maybe put on their favorite show for a few minutes. It keeps them still and it lets gravity do all the work, helping those drops soak deep down into the ear canal where they need to be. Okay, so while those drops are working their magic inside the ear, there's something else you can do on the outside to help things along. Let's look at a gentle massage technique that can make a huge difference with fluid drainage, which, is a huge part of the problem.
It's a simple 3-part massage. First, you're going to use 2 fingers to make small circles on both sides of the ear for about a minute. Next, use really gentle downward strokes along the side of the neck, again for about a minute. And you finish with a very gentle tug on the earlobe in a circular motion. This whole routine really helps open everything up and helps that oral penetrate even deeper. And I really can't stress this enough. Be so gentle. I mean, think about it. That ear is already inflamed and super sensitive. Your touch should be soothing and as light as a feather, definitely not forceful. The goal is just to encourage drainage, not to cause them any more pain.
All right, so we've got the garlic oil and the massage as our main plan. But what else can we do? Well, there are several other supportive things you can add to your toolkit. Think of these as ways to give some extra comfort and just give your child's body that little extra boost it needs to heal up. So here are a few great ideas. For that drainage massage, you could use a little copaiba essential oil, but please remember, only around the ear, never ever put it inside. To help their immune system, you can offer some whole food vitamin C. A warm Epsom salt bath can be incredibly soothing. Just be careful to keep water out of their ears. And my personal favorite simple trick, a sock filled with rice, warmed up in the microwave. It makes the perfect warm compress to help ease that ache. But let's be real for a second. While all these natural methods are fantastic, the goal is never ever to make a child suffer through pain. If they are really hurting, using a medication like Dye-Free Children's ibuprofen is totally okay. There's absolutely a time and a place for it. So what happens if this feels like a battle you're fighting all the time? What if you're dealing with this over and over again? Well, if your child is getting multiple ear infections a year, that is not just bad luck. It's a big, flashing signal from their body telling us we need to dig a little deeper and find the root cause. And one of the biggest suspects for chronic ear infections is often a food intolerance. This is basically an immune response to a certain food that creates inflammation all over the body. And research points again and again to a sensitivity to cow's milk protein as a major trigger for a lot of kids.
Okay, check this out. This shows you the whole chain reaction, step by step. So it all starts with the trigger, right? The food intolerance. That kicks off the body's immune response, which is, you guessed it, inflammation. And that inflammation causes the nasal passages and, this is the important part, the eustachian tube to swell up. So what happens next? Well, when that tube swells, it gets blocked. Fluid can't get out of the middle ear. And that trapped, stagnant fluid, well, that becomes the perfect breeding ground for an infection. You can literally draw a straight line from that food intolerance right to the ear infection.
Phew. Okay, we have covered a lot. So let's pull all of this together into a clear, actionable toolkit. This is your go-to plan for the next time you even think an ear infection might be starting.
So here's your game plan. First, before you do anything else, pause and question the immediate need for antibiotics. Remember, most of these are viral. Your first line of defense is going to be that 3-day garlic oil method. While you're doing that, bring in all that supportive care, the gentle massage, the warm compresses, anything to keep them comfortable. And finally, if this is a recurring nightmare, it is time to put on your detective hat and investigate those root causes, starting with food intolerances.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. What if we just reframe this whole thing? Instead of seeing an ear infection as just another frustrating problem that needs to be solved, what if we see it as a clue? A little message from our child's body guiding us toward understanding and supporting their deeper long-term health.